Good afternoon. There is something usually overlooked about climate change. Climate change will have a greater impact on poorer people in the world. And the effects of climate change, we know this is going to happen. And we are seeing this, and it's going to be worse in the future. So the effects of climate change, floods, increasing new diseases, and the emergence of all diseases. All these effects are going to affect more the poor people in the world, and are going to increase inequalities, existing inequalities in the world. So this issue is our main inspiration for this project. We chose, for several reasons, we chose a place in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and we have someone who really knows about this because he's from there. It's my friend Andre.
Hello. Well, in order to tackle this challenge, we chose Rio de Janeiro, the second largest city in Brazil, with more than 5 million inhabitants and roughly half of its population living in very poor communities called favelas, neighborhoods made of huts crammed on hills and lacking all kinds of good infrastructure, ranging from decent housing to common green areas. On the other hand, there could be no better moment to start a project like this there. There is political will to improve these conditions now, and also Rio is hosting 2 huge world events in the next years, the 2014 Soccer World Cup and the 2016 Olympic Games, which makes Rio a perfect display to spread this idea throughout other developing countries with so similar problems.
So we want to create a better environment through small interventions in multiple scales. Our proposal consists into a modular system hung to the walls of the existing houses that act as vertical gardens and provide green spaces in places with several limitations and involve agriculture, gardening, waste composting, water recycling, and new public spaces. The system is flexible, adaptable, easy to assembly with local materials, and collect the rainwater, and eventually can be developed with more features such as solar panels to use sunlight and a network of waste composting. The final goal is that the system can grow and assembly into a large scale that perform as an urban farm and ultimately into ecological corridors, improving the conditions of the public and the common and the public places in the community.
The biggest challenge and the really important challenge in this project is to engage the local community. We don't want to impose a solution, but work together with the community to come with a suggestion on how to improve the environment and the local environment to reach this goal of a public green place with benefits for all. And the we in this case is, it could be us as a team working with the community. It could also be working together with the local government or local profit or non-profit organizations. In order to engage the community, we want to go into and work with the local leaders. The favelas usually have local leaders and community centers that we would engage. And then also schools and churches would be good places to start the engagement. So how can we reach this goal of ecological green corridors throughout the favelas? We would need an education program to explain the benefits, to engage and educate people to both build and maintain these walls. We need material. We would use mainly recycled and local material from the area. It's not difficult materials: aluminium, recycled plastic containers, and pipes. And most important of all, probably the human resources. We need local ambassadors and to spread the idea and to have them with our idea to make this happen.
I want to come back here to this urban setup. So we can see.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, so you can see how it will grow. So the local community will construct the green walls, and as long as they grow, they will become like ecological corridors. What are the expected outcomes of these projects? Starting with this very local strategy of green walls, we will address a global problem of social and environmental sustainability. As long as these walls grow, we will create an urban ecological corridor of new public space, including organic urban agriculture, gardening, organic waste composting, and stormwater harvesting and recycling. We will involve the community in education, construction, and maintenance of the project, providing local sustainable jobs and local commerce. We will enhance tourism and security in these areas. We will become, these areas will become something that people from all over the world will want to experiment. And finally, by greening the built environment with ecological infrastructure, we will be able to bridge the gap of social inequalities and spread the seed of a more sustainable future. Thank you.
Your idea is growing on me. So I thought that was a very well organized, very well staged presentation. And if I was a potential funder, I would think you would also know how to create a well organized, well staged project. So it would give confidence to whoever was listening to you. So congratulations on that. I also think that you really identified some of the players. You know my question, you were looking at me. But you know, who would do it and how? And I think it's both a strong idea, and you've imagined enough in your 6 hours. I know you've had almost no time. The time that you had, sort of how it would be implemented. So I think you really do have strength on both. And where did you imagine the funding coming from? I guess, I mean, it could be so small scale and localized that...
Yeah, we identified that there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity there. Brazil is doing very well economically, so there is also the political will to change the situation in the favelas. And also, Brazil wants to show a better face of the city. The Olympics are going there, the World Cup is going, so there is this is the momentum for change in these places, largely deprived for millions of people.
But how do you imagine it would be funded?
We think that it's going to be co-funded by international organizations and also non-profit and government, the national government. Yeah.
You know, this can almost be an anarchistic project. You know, one of these grassroots projects where just a whole team of you, whoever you are, right, just come in with the pipes and the planters and the seeds and give them to people in the neighborhood. There's such a spirit of kind of improvisation in the favelas that might be one way to approach it without formal funding.
First, I wanted to commend you for a well-organized presentation that visually looked great and that I can really understand what you're talking about. Second, I thought that it was great to hear not just the doom and gloom of the problem, but the opportunity that you see in Rio de Janeiro. And I think that's very important to point out that it's not just a bad situation, but you actually are, you as people in Rio de Janeiro, have an amazing opportunity. You're on the world stage right now for the next 4 years, and that's exciting. I also thought that this was a very innovative approach to dense urban neighborhoods without green space. I think that there is some issue of how it's going to be maintained, how it's going to be built and things like that. I would like to see maybe a little bit more of the systems, like how could it sustain itself, I guess, and not just become run down and become more urban blight. Like these neighborhoods have problems and they don't fix themselves. These green walls would not sustain themselves without humans, and why would somebody volunteer their time to do that so much? So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that. But I understand that this, I think it's you have a great foundation of this project. if you want to elaborate on how, but I don't. I guess I didn't expect you to have much of an answer to that. But it's more if in the future, as you further refine this, I think if I had $1 million to buy green walls, why would these green walls not just die in the next 6 months? And how can I know that my $1 million is going to go for be sustaining?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Because they belong to the people. The idea is that it's not a green wall that exists in the street. It's a green wall that is part of your house and it's part of your community. So you build it, you watering every day, you see how it grows. So it belongs to you, and you actually plant tomatoes and plant things on it. So it belongs to you, belongs to the community. So you don't want to lose it.
Yes. Well, whenever experience in Brazil, these communities, when they are improved, people have a better self-esteem, you know. So they keep on doing. And also we think this is a process, you know. We want to learn with the people too. Actually, we thought about a pilot in a community called Favela de Vidigal in Rio. And then we would start it using the human participatory development theory, using, for instance, Paulo Freire's ideas, try to develop it all together so that we have also this feeling of community, because they have a very strong feeling of community there.
Okay.
We just have to give them a little, to push them a little, and then things will keep on going better and better. That's my belief, at least.
Okay, those are two really great answers. Thank you.
Wait.
And if you have more.
Yeah, I want to add a little bit. That we think we have there to create jobs for those people. It's not only go and build the new infrastructure. There has to be like economical relationships, commerce in this project, and the people from the favelas has to work there and be paid there, so they don't have to go for looking for jobs in another cities or another parts of the city.
Great idea, well articulated. If you incorporated a nursery or a manufacturing component, maybe you can also create more jobs for the people in that community. And I really like the twist on infrastructure, because you normally think of infrastructure as gray, and it's really a solid green infrastructure project. And this is take it from me, a person who doesn't like green walls. Like, I don't like the way that they've been designed and implemented in the United States as a landscape architect, but I like your approach to it, because it does really make it personal and it does incentivize maintenance. So thank you.
I have one question. None of us have mentioned water. This is going to increase water needs to some extent. What are your thoughts about, well, how do the residents get water now, and how would their water requirements change based on the project?
Well, at least water is not a problem in Rio, at least not the lack of water. Actually, the excess of water is a problem. We had some landslides. I don't know if you heard about